In 2011, a 34-year-old electrician named Marcus walked into a bank in Memphis, Tennessee, and did something that terrified him. He signed a mortgage for $87,000. He had no real estate experience, no mentor, no business plan. His wife thought he was out of his mind. His best friend told him he was about to flush every dollar they'd saved down the drain. The property was a duplex, 2 units, nothing glamorous, cracked driveway, a kitchen from the 1970s, the kind of place most people would scroll right past on Zillow without a second thought. But that single, unremarkable building would go on to change his entire financial future. Within 7 years, it helped him quit his job, buy 11 more properties, and build a net worth north of $2 million. One property. That's where it started. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Because the biggest lie in real estate isn't that it's risky. It's that you need to go big or go home. You don't. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. We live in a culture that's addicted to scale. Bigger is better. 10 doors before you're 30. 100 units or you're nobody. Social media is flooded with 20-somethings claiming they made 6 figures in their first deal, standing in front of cars they probably rented for the photo. And look, I'm not here to knock ambition. Ambition is great, but there's a difference between ambition and delusion. And the pressure to scale fast has wrecked more would-be investors than any market crash ever has. Here's what the data actually shows. According to rental industry research, 42% of all landlords in the United States own just one rental property. Another 33% own between 2 and 4. That means 75% of all landlords in this country are working with small portfolios. And here's the part that matters. 91% own 10 units or fewer. These aren't moguls. They're everyday people, teachers, electricians, nurses, working families, and the vast majority of them are still in the game, still profitable, still building quietly in the background. Meanwhile, the investors who rush to scale, who over-leverage themselves across 5 or 6 properties before they understand the fundamentals, they're the ones who end up underprepared and selling at a loss when the first real challenge hits. Property management companies consistently report that the investors who fail are the ones who scaled too fast, driven by unrealistic expectations and zero experience to fall back on. So, what's actually going on here? Why does one property work so well as a starting point? Let's break it apart. The first reason is something almost nobody talks about: the education embedded in ownership. You can read 50 books about real estate. You can watch 1,000 YouTube videos. You can memorize cap rates and cash-on-cash returns and the 1% rule. But none of that compares to the midnight phone call from a tenant whose pipe just burst, or the first time you realize your cash-flowing property is actually bleeding money because you forgot to budget for vacancy, or the gut punch of discovering that your contractor cut corners and now you're staring at a $10,000 repair bill you never saw coming. That first property teaches you everything, not in theory and scar tissue. And that education is priceless because it's the difference between an investor who survives the long game and one who collapses the moment something goes sideways. The second reason one property is so powerful is financial leverage. And I don't just mean the mortgage. When Marcus bought that duplex, he lived in one unit and rented out the other. The rent covered roughly 70% of his mortgage. That's not unusual. Industry data shows that house hacking a duplex can offset anywhere from 70 to 100% of your monthly mortgage payment, depending on the market. Suddenly, his cost of living dropped by nearly $1,000 a month. He didn't blow it on a new truck. He stacked it. Within 2 years, he had a down payment for property number 2. This is the snowball that nobody sees from the outside. That first property doesn't just sit there generating rent. It restructures your entire financial life. Lower housing costs, a building appreciating in the background, mortgage principal getting paid down by someone else's rent check, tax advantages most W-2 earners never even know exist, like depreciation deductions that reduce your taxable income on the property itself. One property doing 5 things at once, silently, while you sleep. And the third reason, the one that gets overlooked the most, is psychological. When you own one property and it works, something shifts in your brain. You stop seeing real estate as this abstract, intimidating thing reserved for the wealthy. It becomes concrete, manageable. You've done it once, you know you can do it again. That confidence is the real asset. Not the building, not the rent check, the belief, backed by lived experience that you can navigate this world. and that belief compounds faster than any interest rate. Now let me tell you about someone else. Her name is Dana, and she lives in a small town outside Akron, Ohio. Dana was a high school teacher making $41,000 a year. Single mom, 2 kids, no savings to speak of, and a credit score that was, in her own words, embarrassing. In 2016, her grandmother passed away and left her a small house, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, a detached garage that leaned slightly to the left. Nothing special, appraised at $62,000. Dana's first instinct was to sell it. She needed the money, badly. But something made her pause. She'd been casually listening to podcasts about real estate during her commute, and a thought lodged itself in the back of her mind. What if she kept it? She decided to rent it out. She put in about $4,000 of her own money for basic repairs, a new water heater, some paint, a deep clean, and listed it for $750 a month. It rented in 9 days. Now, $750 a month isn't going to make anyone rich, but here's what it did. It gave Dana breathing room. For the first time in years, she wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. She started a small emergency fund, she paid off a credit card, her credit score climbed. 2 years later, she refinanced and pulled out just enough equity for a down payment on a second rental, a little bungalow 3 streets over. Then she did it again in 2021 and again in 2023. Today, Dana owns 4 rental properties. Her rental income has surpassed her teaching salary. She still teaches, she loves it, but she doesn't need the paycheck anymore. She said something I haven't stopped thinking about. I didn't build this because I was smart or brave. I built it because my grandma gave me 1 house, and I was just stubborn enough not to sell it. 1 property, that's all it took to change the trajectory of her entire family. And if this story resonates with you, if something in the back of your mind is saying, maybe this could work for me too, then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Every week on this channel, we break down exactly how ordinary people build real wealth, step by step, no hype. Now let's get into the playbook. So let's say you're convinced, you're ready to start with one. What does that actually look like in practice? Step 1. Buy below your means. This is the most important thing I can tell you. Do not stretch. Do not buy the most expensive property you can qualify for. Buy the most boring, stable, unsexy property you can find in a solid neighborhood. A duplex in a working-class area. A small single-family home near a school. Something with a roof that doesn't leak and tenants who pay on time. Boring is beautiful when you're starting out. Remember, half of all single property landlords didn't even buy their property as an investment. It started as a primary residence. You don't need a mansion, you need a foothold. Step 2. House hack if you can. Live in 1 unit, rent the other, or rent out a room, or rent the whole place and stay with family for a year. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spends about 33% of their income on housing. House hacking can cut that number in half or eliminate it entirely. Marcus did this. Dana effectively did it with an inherited property. The principle is the same. Shrink your biggest expense and redirect the savings toward your next move. Step 3. Hold. This is where most beginners fail. They buy a property, panic at the first repair bill, and sell within 2 years. Real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-slow scheme. The magic happens in years 3 through 10. That's when appreciation kicks in, when the mortgage balance drops meaningfully, when rents rise with inflation, when the equity builds enough to fund your next move. Step 4. Learn while you earn. Use that first property as your classroom. Learn to screen tenants properly. Learn to negotiate with contractors. Learn what insurance you actually need and what you're overpaying for. Industry data shows the average annual operating cost per rental unit runs between $4,600 and $5,400 for small landlords. Knowing where that money goes is the difference between profit and a money pit. Every lesson you absorb on property 1 makes property 2 dramatically easier and less risky. And step 5, this is the one that separates people who build wealth from people who just buy a house. Reinvest. When that property starts generating surplus, don't upgrade your lifestyle. Funnel it back in. Save for the next down payment. Pay down principal faster. Build the snowball. Because once you have two properties, three becomes almost inevitable. And once you have three, the income starts to feel very real. Here's what I want you to take away from all of this. You do not need 10 properties to change your life. You do not need $100,000 in the bank to get started. You do not need to know everything before you make your first move. You need one property, one solid, well-chosen, boring little asset that teaches you the game while it quietly builds your future in the background. Marcus started with an $87,000 duplex and a stomach full of fear. Dana started with a house she almost sold. Neither of them had a grand plan. What they had was a single starting point and the patience to let it work. The world will tell you that's not enough, that you need to think bigger, move faster, risk more. But the data and the stories of real people tell a different truth. One property is all you need, not to finish, but to begin. And beginning is the hardest, most important part. If you got value from this video, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Every week, we break down the real stories and real strategies behind building wealth, one step at a time. No hype, no shortcuts, just the truth. I'll see you in the next one.